state of seichel is when it starts to understand something. Nikra b'shem chachma, keyachma is called chachma. That says in Zayar that's called keyachma. Chachma is something that we're not always so familiar with. We don't experience. We're not good at experiencing it. In the process of seichel, before you understand something, when you have something that's difficult, you have a gemara that's difficult, a sugi that's difficult, a maimer that's hard to understand, so it's dark, right? When you work on it and you work on it, first you come to the first stage, it starts making sense. It starts clicking by you. It's like sechap abissal. That's called in Chassidus Chachma, that's called other places, a barak hamavrik. It's like a flash of lightning. When there's a flash of lightning, for a split second, you see, when you're driving in the dark, everything looks like strange forms. You have no idea what you're seeing. For a flash, for that split second, you see what everything is. Everything is clear, everything is visible, everything fits in, but it's for a split second. You don't have the details, the clarity in the details. It's just the change, me'afelo le'er gadol, from darkness to light. That's chachma. By a person, that's chachma. That's called kayachma. Chachma is made up the two words kayachma, because chachma, you still don't have a clear understanding of what it is. It just became light. It became overall a general clarity that then you have to then bring it down into specifics, which is going to be bina. When someone takes this kayach, chachma is like a bekayach, because you don't understand yet everything, but it started to, you got the nekuda klolis. When I bring it alapaya, when I take that kayach, I take that momentary clarity, and I bring it down so that I could use that to specifically understand all the details. How do I do that with the kayach habina? Kayach habina is the details shem is bein in besichle, that I use the kayach habina that's in my seichel lahavin davar la shure, to understand it with its properly. Ola umkay, to go deep into it, miteich eze davar chachma hamuskol besichle, to go deeper from the dvar chachma. I take that and I use the chachma to understand something thoroughly. Nikra bina, that's called bina. So we could have a stage where a kasha that I have, suddenly I have a realization that's an ishver. I have a overall, a makiftik idea of how I could resolve it. But then I have to take it and work it out. By us, we're sometimes very shvach in this kayach of chachma. We're more equipped, we're more focused on bina. So when you're learning, usually what you're doing is you're taking the details. Yeah, a svara, another svara, a lot of svaras. You have a huge amount of svaras. You write a pilpul ha'ar on it. But the first step is the chachma. Sometimes you're missing that. You know what you could see sometimes a bacher listens to a shiur. And the Maggid Shiur said a svara. Fine. So he learns it, he chaz it over, he knows the svara. Then he asks the Maggid Shiur, he didn't understand the details, and the Maggid Shiur says, no, that wasn't that way, it was the opposite. It's not the gavra, it's the chefza, it's not the chali. Yeah. Oh, it's the other way, so now he takes it the other way. I mean, how could you understand it one way and understand it the opposite way? When you're understanding it, when it's as a gevarin lichtig, it's gevarin lichtig because there's something was leik sich up. There's something that it fits in your mind. It can't be one way and then an opposite way. If it's one way and then an opposite way, it's because we're missing the light. We're just taking the words. We're taking the details without the chachma. There was a shliach once speaking to Rabbi Chadakov, and he was asking a question. Chadakov was the Rebbe's right-hand man. So he was asking a question, and Rabbi Chadakov was telling him what he's supposed to do, and explaining to him, why he has to do that. This is what you have to do. And then in the middle of speaking, Rabbi Chadakov said, 1 minute. Why do you say 1 minute? He got called by the Rebbe. He went off the phone for like half a minute, 30 seconds, and he came back on, and he continued speaking. But he continued speaking the exact opposite of what he was saying in the first half of the conversation. Says the Rebbe called him, so now he realized this is what he thought before, and he thought it was the whole takeoff. Now he was told the other way, and he continued. The rest of the conversation was explaining the opposite side. And so this story was said to bring out the bittul of Rabbi Chodakov. Yeah, he had an idea. As soon as he heard a word from the Rebbe, his idea was completely the opposite. But that's mitzad bittul. Seichel doesn't work like that. Seichel, when it's in the right process of Seichel, it starts with Chachma, it starts with a Baraka Mavrik. Baraka Mavrik is the way everything makes sense. It makes sense for a reason. And then the Bina has to fit with this Nekudas HaChachma. The Chachma goes, the Bina just elaborates on that. When it's just plain Bina, so then I just try to put together, make a building block of words and ideas that's not coming from that you say the Baraka Mavrik. So this is Chachma and Bina. These two basic keches of Seichel are the Av v'Eim. We said before, in general, all three Sichliim are called Imais. Shalish Imais v'Sheva Kfulis. But specifically, Chachma is called Av and Bina is called Eim. For the same reason, because of this, what is the father and the mother in their relationship with the child? The father is the Nekuda. The Tipas Avlad is from the father. It's a Nekuda Klolis. It doesn't have any of the details. The mother, through the Tisha Chadashim Bebet Naim, like we learned in Perek Beis, from there comes all the details of the child, all the details of the Vlad. The same way in Seichel, Chachma is the Nekuda. It's the essence of the Chachma, but it's in a way of a Nekuda. The Bina, which is the aim, takes that Nekuda and it develops it and it cultivates it and it gives it all of the form, all of the tzura that it needs to be a comprehensible and a detailed and a presentable Chachma. And there Meilides, Ava Savaya, in the case of the Nefesh Alakis, it's not Stam Seichel, understanding ideas. The Nefesh Alakis, where it's Seichel and Midas are for the Eibishter, so it's a Ava Eim that are Meilides feelings for the Eibishter, the Meilides Ava Savaya v'Yirasa Yupachte. And now the Alter Rebbe is going to explain this process, that this is the Yisod of Chassidus Chabad, that we're able to use our Seichel to bring us to have feelings for the Eibishter. What does everyone have his biggest complaint? And what should I do if I'm lazy? What do you mean you're lazy? Nobody is ever too lazy to go on a trip to Disneyland. Nobody's too lazy to go skiing down the mountain and climb up the mountain and go fishing, boating. I'm lazy means I'm not excited about learning. I'm not excited about davening. So therefore I feel like I'm dead about it. What's the answer to that? That Chassidus gives us the tool to get ourselves excited about it, the Eibishter, excited about Alikus, excited about every aspect of Torah mitzvahs. The Alter Rebbe gave us the process for that, is Moyach Shalat Alalev. That's Chassidus Chabad, that we use this tool of understanding, thinking and understanding about the Eibishter to turn on our excitement, to turn on our midas, that they should also, and that's the solution to all the problems. So the whole Sefer, Tanya is about that, this approach. But here the Alter Rebbe gives us the brief overview. As you say, how does this process work? How does this ingredients work? That the Seichel, when channeled in the right way, becomes the fuel that I'm not listless, I'm not apathetic, I'm not indifferent, I'm excited and enthusiastic about the Eibishter. So it starts, how does it work? When I'm using these keches of Chachma and Bina, of understanding the Nekuda Klolos in a way as is lichtig by mir, and developing it, and thoroughly bringing it into details, when I think very much and very deeply, very intensely about how great the Eibishter is, and what am I thinking about the greatness of the Eibishter, says the Alter Rebbe, three details. There's three things we could think about the Eibishter that obviously in Chassidus is elaborated, a whole Chassidus about it. But in general, the Eibishter is first of all Memale Kol Almin. The Eibishter is when I see the world, anything in the world, what is it? It's Eibishter. When I see Gdeimim, Semei, Achai, Medaber, it's all a manifestation of the Chayis Eliki, of the Atem, V'atem, Achayes, Kulam. That's Memale Kol Almin. What does Memale Kol Almin bring out by me? An aspect of the Eibishter that I could relate with, that I could understand. Because for Memale Kol Almin, there's very, very clear Mishalim. Maha Neshama Memale Esaguf Kacha Kadosh Baruch Hu Memale Esailam. I understand rationally how I have my Neshama that's bepnimius in my guf. I could understand in the same way that there's a Chayes Eliki that's bepnimius, mislabish, and Elames and Ivram and Machaya them. So this is something that I have a very direct chiyuvdik relationship with. That's the chayas of Memale Kol Almin. That gives me a pneumistic connection with Elikos. In this beingness of Memale Kol Almin, if we say the three parts of Kriya, V'ahavtas Havayalkecha B'chol Levavcha V'chol Nafshecha V'chol Meidecha, that's the key to B'chol Levavcha. B'chol Levavcha B'shnei Yitzarecha. By being mizbein and understanding the way there's so many things in the world that are attractive to me. Yeah, I love chocolate cake. I love playing basketball, and all this. Where does this Metzias come from? From Elikos. So I got my Nefesh Abamis could understand the enjoyment that you have in anything in the world is surpassed by the enjoyment that you have in Elikos. So that brings me b'chol levavcha, that the gashmistic feeling of excitement and enjoyment I have for anything gashmis in the world, that same way I have that noch an aggressor eifa for Elikos. But then I think further than that, v'seviv kol almin, that the Eibishter is not just in the world the way I could understand, he's beyond that, he's above that. He's seviv kol almin, he's makif, he's higher, aloof from the world. What does that bring out for me? It brings out a bittul, it brings out a connection with the Eibishter that's overpowering, that's beyond my Metzias. In Krishma, it's B'chol Nafshecha, it brings out an Ava of the Nefesh Elikis that's not al Piseichel. That's why B'chol Nafshecha is Afilu Hu Neitel Es Nafshecha. I'm Meiser Nefesh, I'm not having a B'chol Levavcha, a rational Ava that I could explain, because that's al Piseichel. That doesn't bring me to Mesiras Nefesh. But the Eibishter is Seviv Kol Almin, he's higher than all the explanations. He's Makiv. And then there's V'kula Kamei Kalei. Even the Seviv Kol Almin is a Dargan Elikos. It's a Dargan Elikos that's connected to the world. It's connected to the world in a way of Seviv Kol Almin. Right? You learn this throughout Chassidus. But the Eibishter himself, Atzmusei, is higher than Seviv Kol Almin. And that is this Beinis Kula Kamei Kalei Chashiv. That brings out the B'chol Meidecha. These are three fundamental aspects of our connection with the Eibishter that comes out from the three basic hisbeininissen and the three basic ways that the Eibishter relates with the world, Memale Kol Almin, Seviv Kol Almin, and Kula Kamei Kalei Chashiv. What results from that? Neilda v'nisera, those are the Ava Aim. What is the Vlad? From that is born, it comes into being, v'nisera, and is awakened, the feelings, and now the Alter Rebbe is going to specify the feelings that come out from that. Now, we're going to have to understand this better at the end of the Perek, because l'cheira, the big question, the $6 million question is, what do you mean? I could think about someone that he's very great, but I don't love him. I love myself. I love to eat breakfast from Booby's Bagels. What is the greatness? So it's great, but it's not what does that have to do with me? Why does that make me love him? Everyone asks. I learn Chassidus. Chassidus is telling me that because the Eibishter is great, I should love him. The Eibishter is great, but I love to have fun. I love to have my pleasures. How does the equation add up? Right. That's the basics. This is the Aleph base. So we have to get to the end of the whole Perek. But first, Alter Rebbe is going to describe and define the midas that come out from these beinissen. The first thing that comes out is Neilda v'nisera midas yiras haremus b'mecher u'machshavte. First comes yiras haremus, conceptual, intellectual yiras haremus, that I understand in my mind how I have to be afraid of the Eibishter. And Alter Rebbe describes here the highest level of Yira. We have time still? What time is it? What? Okay, we'll start tomorrow with these. We'll start today with feeling the Yira Saremus, and tomorrow we'll start learning about the Yira Saremus.